Girls are shitting then, they never close the door.
Yeah.
I was like, they just open the door and I was like, oh my goodness. I'm Siobhan.
I'm Vanessa.
I'm Kim.
I'm Leah, and this is
ZULA ChickChats.
Today we're going to be talking about living overseas versus living in Singapore when you're younger. For you guys, where have you stayed or how long have you stayed there for?
I've never stayed in another country for very long, but I've been to a lot of different places because of work. I travel all around, for example, China, all the way to Isle of Man, which is near Scotland side.
I was just in Perth for 3 years for uni.
I grew up in Malaysia, then I lived in Singapore for about 4 to 5 years, and then I went and stayed in Manchester for 3 years.
Similar to Siobhan, I didn't really stay overseas for a long period, only for school for about 2 months. I was in Korea then, but most of the time I just travel. So for you guys who have lived overseas, we travel overseas and everything, what do you think are the main differences between living in Singapore versus living overseas? Let's talk about it in different categories. So first one, maybe language.
In Australia, they speak English,
Yeah.
and for Singaporeans, the first language is English as well. The only thing is the Australian accent can be quite strong, and especially they speak really quickly and they like to speak with slang, so you might or might not get it.
When I first arrived in the UK, I was very confused with how people would greet each other. In Singapore or generally in Asia, we don't really go up to someone and be like, hey. In the UK, they always go like, are you alright? For the longest time, I was so confused between whether I should answer them or not, because it's a question, are you alright? The first time I arrived in the UK, when someone first asked me, are you alright? I was like, oh, I just came off the plane, I'm really homesick. I've come to learn that when two white people meet each other, they will both say, are you alright? And nobody will say an answer. It's just a common thing. It's just like saying hi, but in the UK, you just go like, are you alright? Are you alright? And then you just get on with your lives, you know?
For me, I think language barrier is a big difference, especially when I went to Korea. They speak Korean, right? And not a lot of people speak English there. So it's hard to communicate, but if you want to do the basic transactional communications, like asking how much is this or whether you're gonna get this, it's quite simple. You pick it up after a while.
I studied the basics of Japanese twice. Even if you go to Japan, within Japan, right, there's so many dialects also. Like in Osaka versus in Tokyo.
Aside from language, there's also cultural differences in terms of how you carry out your day-to-day activities. So what is something that you have culture shock when you went there?
One major thing that stood out for me was the food courts. You know how in Singapore we have food courts like Rojak, Nasi Lemak and all that crap, right?
Hold up. Say what?
The good stuff. So I step into the food court. It says food court. There's always a Chinese stall. There's always an Indian stall, and then you have all the fast food. And there's always one obligatory salad stall.
Oh my god!
Oh god, hashtag healthy lifestyle,
So I'm just is this a food court? It's just a regular shopping center.
In China, right, if you go to the public toilet, I was so shocked.
Oh!
Girls are shitting then, they never close the door.
Yeah.
I was like, they just open the door and I was like, oh my goodness.
I remember I went to Beijing for a short trip, right, when I was in secondary school. And we went to the uni. When we went to the toilet, there were no doors. So we were freaking out. Oh my god, so we all use our umbrellas. So we open it.
Public transport in overseas countries in the UK is really terrible. If you go to smaller towns and smaller cities, it's really, really shit. In the UK, in Manchester specifically, the bus routes wouldn't stay to its route. You have a destination, you're like, okay, I need to be at this whatever place at certain time, but you have to give yourself an hour in case the bus uncle decides to be like, you know what, today I'm not gonna go this route anymore, so I'll just turn another route.
They just turn another.
During the time when I was living there was a lot of construction going on, so there were a lot of roadblocks, and then they don't inform people of these roadblocks, so you just have to sit on the bus and wait.
Can you imagine if that happened in Singapore?
I know, people would
yell SMRT, what are you doing? Aside from more culture differences, maybe talk about education or jobs wise. What's the big difference for you? Especially because both of you guys went there to study and everything,
I
right?
think I definitely excelled a lot more in uni at Australia. People there are very open and they can just have a conversation with the lecturer and you don't have to raise your hand. People won't judge you if you want to talk and ask questions and things like that. There's no such thing as a dumb question. In Singapore, if you do that, people will be like, ooh.
Oh my god, it's very true. In my uni, someone raises their hand in lecture, I'm just like, oh my god, this idiot just wants an additional 10 points for their class, but just keep quiet. Oh my god, it's not productive. Sometimes I do learn, but sometimes I'm just like.
I feel Singapore education system, they could focus more on social people skills. In Western countries, they for sure they have those.
Well, I did do work experience at the BBC for about 3 weeks. Yeah. I feel in Singapore and in Asian countries, there's a lot of that top-down system. There's a hierarchy, basically. But whereas in European countries, you can freely express your opinions to your boss. You won't have to feel scared about it.
In countries like Japan, they really take pride in the kind of jobs that a lot of Singaporeans won't do. And I remember in Japan, I went to the Moss Burger there. So there's this guy, he greeted me, you know, he smiled, because I don't take beef. So I was trying to talk to him in Japanese. So he explained to me that basically this burger had a mix of beef and pork, but he didn't know how to say it. He said, okay, then he took out his phone, Google Translate.
Oh my
and then
god.
he spoke to it. He asked his friend to come over. My friend who's a bit better in English said, combination. Then, hi, so that's, okay. Like, every time he served me, it's like the same, so full of pride and like joy to just be working in Moss Burger.
I think in Singapore, a lot of like older people, they always value like being in the financial industry, business sector. Overseas, people don't do that. They respect people who work like waitressing jobs. They respect them for doing hard jobs. So we talk about all these differences, like comparing Singapore to living overseas. You want to migrate out of Singapore? Why or why not?
I'm torn between, because sometimes I feel like going overseas would be great. You get to see your home country from a different perspective, and that really broadens your horizon on a lot of subjects. But at the same time, I wouldn't want to migrate because Singapore education is great, it's safe. The first week I was at university, they gave us a rape alarm because that just shows you the
How
degree.
normal,
To put
right?
in perspective, that shows you how dangerous every other country is. So if you want to start a family here, it would be great.
Actually, I'm torn as well. I feel like Singapore is a great place to settle down because we have a lot of benefits. Everyone is sheltered. There are people in Australia who sleep on the streets, tons. Food is affordable, you got CPF, so you know, when you want to retire, you always have money. Even though I do want to migrate eventually when I retire, when I'm old, I want to do more than just, you know, stay in Singapore and go to Orchard Road and stuff like that.
Him and Vanessa cover a lot of points that I also agree with. The reason why I would want to migrate overseas is really because of nature. That's the thing that Singapore lacks. I think that it would be nice to go out in a place where we have like, you know, really oceans, mountains, and that's the reason why Singaporeans every time travel overseas.
Yeah, I agree.
That's something that I would personally like. On top of that, it's really very hectic here sometimes.
Mostly the main reason why I will go overseas is personally for career. The fashion industry is not that big in Singapore. Personally, my passion is to go and do something in the fashion industry or the media industry. You kind of get a job that you fully like here, especially if they don't have the market and industry to cater to it for you. Do you necessarily think the grass is always greener on the other side?
I think it's good to go overseas because it gives you a change of perspective. In like secondary school, people would treat me differently because they knew I was half white. When I was overseas, it was pointed out to me that I was half Asian. The fact that I was mixed, it made me the minority within a minority. It was like a total 180 change. The way we see it on Instagram and like social media, it really paints it out to be like this great life. On the flip side, when there's 4 seasons, you get seasonal depression. It's a thing. It's the same shade of green.
I mean, us having studied overseas, it's not a true representation of what life is really like. I feel like in order to know what living in another country is really like, you have to be actually working there for a while, paying the bills, be around local people. Because like for us, school fees was paid. You don't have to pay for bills, you don't have to work. It's very fluffed, you know, looking at life through like rose-tinted glasses, it's not real in a sense.
So today we've talked about living abroad versus living in Singapore. The general consensus is that if you do have the resources, definitely go and stay overseas at least once in your life. But always keep in mind that there's 2 sides to the story.
So if you have any overseas experiences you want to share with us, you can leave it in the comments and let us know what else to talk about next time.
And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Bye!